Well, hello, good evening. I'm actually just kind of waiting for the live video to show up in the app before I start just really running my mouth here. Um, okay, there we go. Up and running. I can't believe that we've made it to the end of this class together. Um, oh, hey, Clive. I'm glad you're joining for our last week. It's good to see you. Um, if you've been around all semester, you know that I have a tendency to ramble, even when there's like a strong topic at hand. Um, and the topic for our concluding week here really is reflection. So this is going to be even more um, wandering than a usual week. So, uh, yeah, buckle up. Throw your comments in the chat if you haven't. Um, and we'll kind of just get rolling here. Now, 13 weeks ago, and I can't believe that it's been 13 weeks. Um, I'm just curious if you can hear all of the hullabaloo there in the background. We have some visitors in our home this evening that's very exciting for the kids. Um, but when I sat down 13 weeks ago, really wanting to try and make something um that was ultimately like a right like that I could use as a basically a teaching portfolio. Um one thing that was true 13 weeks ago that is still true now, right? This last Wednesday in November, is that I would be extremely interested in teaching at the college level. And one challenge that I have had in applying for those types of roles is that everybody wants experience, right? Um, but it's kind of that classic issue that you get a lot, uh, really like in any professional field, that you want to, uh, you need to get hired usually to get the experience. But nobody wants to hire you without the experience. And so, kind of a big piece of my own intent was just to make my own experience, right? And now I can say, right, that I have this much more teaching experience under my belt that I can put on my CV. Um, but the other thing that I really wanted to kind of hone in on um, over the course of this introduction to gender studies was to kind of put something out there that where people could go, oh yeah, I see the point. I see the point of feminism. I see the point of talking about gender in a compassionate and holistic way. And I see how our culture informs how we interact with each other. Uh, because I think that the challenge that we so often have is that there's not a ton of examination that goes on in the cultural norms that inform our lived experiences. Um, and there's no, like, I hope that this is coming across in my comments that that is not a statement from me that is filled with any kind of a judgment, right? We all do it. Um, but there's also a serious benefit to taking some time, right? Like every week or every other week, or like when you have like just a few minutes to engage in some really honest self reflection, right? um, to ask, like, why do I, it's been a long day, so like the examples are running a little bit faster in my head than I can verbalize out. Um, but right, for example, why do I think that a parent taking leave after the birth of a baby is a vacation, right? Um, it's not. We all know that it's not. Um, but really, really taking the time to examine that is something that I hope that this has been for you over the last 13 weeks. It certainly has been for me. Um, Now, I think another benefit of this, just to me personally, has really been the opportunity to explore and understand uh, kind of my own lived experiences as a child. I believe that I've talked about this a few times. I hope I have over the last few weeks. Um, but my father is also a college professor, uh, and I was a young teenager when he got like his first permanent tenure track teaching position. And I was 9 years old when he finished his doctoral degree. Um, and he was gone like a lot in that first year of teaching. Um, and something that this has done for me is to really both be able to conceptualize how hard that was for him, and why that showed up in our family in the way that it did. But because I also had that lived experience, right, kind of hanging out back here, um, I knew how important it was to approach this differently. And again, like no shade or judgment to my dad. Um, he's awesome. Um, but I knew that it was important, both for myself and for the people that I'm trying to teach, at least a little bit here, to approach this in a more like, holistic way. Um, and I feel really good about how that has shown up, and I hope that you do too. Um, because even in trying to approach this sustainably, um, it's been a challenging semester. Like just for me personally, and that's not something that I really talk about here. Um, because right, like some of you that are watching this, I know you and you know what's going on with me. I know what's going on with you. Some of the stuff that's happening in my life is not stuff that I broadly want out on the internet. Um, so it will have to suffice to say that there have been some challenges this semester, um, where I really have gone, can I even do this? Um, and so like my gratitude to you all for, I mean, honestly, really just like showing up, um, reading, making comments, talking to me in real life when I see you in real life. I can't tell you, honestly, how much that means to me. Um, because really, yeah, there have been some moments along the way where, uh, hopefully, like I'm offering something beneficial, but I'm being carried by a lot of you, and I appreciate that immensely. Um, Now, I don't know about you all, but I am ready for a rest here at the end of the year. and I'm looking forward to that. But I'm also really, really looking forward to um, what this space is going to show up as in the spring 2026 semester as well. Um, because rather than introduction to gender studies, um, which this has been right all fall of 2025. Um, I hope you'll forgive me. My Duolingo notifications were getting extremely distracting. I just had to clear them off. Um, but in spring of 2026, the course that is going to be living here on this Substack is GLBTQ issues in literature and film. Now I've already developed the syllabus, and I don't know if Substack has the ability for folks to um, attach things in our newsletters that go out. Um, Hopefully there is, because what I'd really like to do with our very first module that's going to be coming out the week of January 12th is to attach that syllabus just so that maybe a little bit more strongly what's coming up. Um, right, just, I don't know. It'd be helpful for me. I hope it would be helpful for you also. Um, but I'm really excited because uh, there are some texts that are new to me as well. So, like, I'm excited to be discovering something new in real time with you. Um, and then we'll also be spending some time watching, yes, like some films and documentaries. Um, there's one, I don't even know what to call it. Like, it's a fictional story, but it's a documentary style film, called The Watermelon Woman that really it's a hallmark in, or maybe not a hallmark. It's kind of like a cornerstone of sorts, um, of like a visual media within the discipline. And on a level, I understand why it is. On another, I hate it. Um, and some of that is just me when I'm talking about the watermelon woman. Um, because the first time I watched it as a younger adult, um, it really took me watching the entire film to figure out that it wasn't a true story in the first place. And that made me feel really stupid. Um, and so even though I realize that the bias is a little silly, um, it kind of still just hangs out back there, and I don't like it. Um, there's also a portion in the middle that is, frankly, extremely pornographic in nature. Um, and one of my goals in, right, like generally, right, like the content that I use to teach, um, it's stuff that, uh, like if we're talking about sensitive topics, I want it to be germane to the topic that we are discussing, right? Um, with that example in the watermelon woman, it didn't really do anything for the story that was trying to be told. Um, and so I didn't like that very much. But I also broadly, right, like if this is content that you are like sitting down and maybe you're discussing it with your families, maybe you have kids, um, that it's if there's anything there that is, like very sensitive, that like you can at least like articulate the point to it. So anyway, all of this rambling, and I told you there was going to be some rambling, is to say, um, I am looking for a substitute for The Watermelon Woman as one of the films that we will be watching and then discussing together next semester. So, if you have any recommendations, uh, let me know because that's something that I'm still kind of mulling over. Um, the other films that we'll be watching over the spring semester include Paris is Burning, Moonlight. Um, sorry, Paris and Burning and is Burning and Moonlight are separate. I feel like I didn't give a clear verbal comma there. Um, Paris is Burning is really excellent. It's also quite sad though. Um, so be warned about that. We'll also be watching Portrait of a Lady on Fire and Disclosure. Um, and then for the texts, um, one that is new to me, and I'm a little embarrassed, honestly, that it is new to me, is Zombie by Audre Lorde. And then the other thing that I really am hoping we can read together, um, I had written it down and then I lost my notes, and I've got to look up the book. I wonder, do I have it? Just well, I've never done this before, but I'm gonna walk over real quick and just take a look at my own bookshelf for a second. Bear with me. All right. See, I knew that I would find it. um. Anyway, so we've got Zombie by Audre Lorde, and then we have um, All Boys Aren't Blue by George M. Johnson. Um, this book is magnificent, and it's not a super long read. Let's see. It's 297 pages, but you can kind of see there in the book itself, right? Like the text is relatively big. Um, this isn't like I will just grab out another example here. If you remember a few weeks back when I talked about this encyclopedia that I had contributed to, um, where the text is indeed quite a bit smaller, and there's a lot of it. So, um, anyway, I'm really excited about those two texts. To spend some time talking together about GLBTQ issues in film and literature. Um, because I think it's so needed. It's so critically important and so needed in our society. Um, yeah, I don't know. Here I am just rambling away a little bit, maybe lightly like a lunatic, but um, I think again here, kind of at the end of our time together for really this calendar year. still be on Substack, so message or whatever. Um, but I really do hope that you got a lot out of this class. I know that I certainly did, both just in my own research and in spending time with you all. And I'm really looking forward to both having a rest and spending time with you again in spring of 2026. So, um, corny though it may sound, I will see you next year. Bye.